Hey guys, I'm Tara. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the best stretches for tight hips. So you guys know I'm a physical therapist, so I have to talk about the hip joint just a little bit. So the hip joint is like a ball and socket joint. So we have two of those in our body. So we have our shoulder as a ball and socket joint, and then the hip is. So the difference between the ball and socket joint compared to other different joints in our body is that we have more movement in this ball and socket joint. So if you think about your shoulder compared to your elbow, your elbow really bends and straightens. I mean, it does turn a little bit this way, but you don't have as much movement as you would have in your shoulder. You can move your shoulder in all different directions, if that kind of makes sense. So when you're feeling tightness in your hips, really the question is, why are you having tightness? Is it just tight muscles around your hip joint, or is there actual limitations in the joint that are causing the tightness? So sometimes your joints, basically, when you go through a movement, your joint has to move as well. So it'll have a certain way that it'll slide and glide. So sometimes if it's not gliding as freely as it should be, then you could get some tightness in your joints. So joints too could glide too much and then you become hypermobile, but you're probably not watching this video if you're hypermobile. So in my opinion, to really help with areas of tightness, the best thing is to really move in different directions. So for me, that's why I like to practice yoga. So I do weight training as well, which kind of helps, keep everything strong. And then yoga also is stretching out muscles, but what I like about yoga is that it really moves your body in different directions, so you're really getting your joints in all the different ranges that they need to go in. The hips are a common point of tightness because a lot of times we're not moving our hips through any of their full range. So we're really not everyone, but a lot of the times throughout the day we're sitting, so our hips just sitting in one position. When we're walking, we really only get so much range in our hips, so that's why they're commonly tight. So today I'm going to show you some stretches to help if your hip tightness is from tight muscles. So your hips do have various different muscles that kind of surround that joint. So we'll go over at least one stretch for each of those muscles. When you are holding stretches, the most common thing is people don't actually hold their stretches for long enough. So you do need to hold stretches for at least 20 seconds for them to be effective. My personal preference on stretching is to hold for 30 seconds and then repeat that stretch 3 times. But if you do a stretch and you hold it only for 5 seconds, you're not going to really have any changes in the length of the muscle. Okay, so I'm going to go onto the floor and then I will show you these stretches. Okay, Tyson is joining us for the stretching portion of the video. Hi, I love you. First stretch we're going to do is so it's outer hip, we're going to stretch the glutes out. It gets a little into your piriformis, so you're going to lay on your back. So there's multiple ways that you could do this stretch. So the first stage is you can cross your ankle over your, right above your knee, and then you're going to push the leg out and back this way. Okay? So that's one option. So another option is you can kind of interlock your fingers. Hold down below your knee. So if you're on your right side, you're pulling your knee over to the left. And then you feel a stretch in this area. So the only thing is you want to make sure that you don't have pinching feeling in the front of the hip. If you do, then maybe this variation would be better for you. So this one kind of looks like this. You can even straighten this leg out and then you're pulling your leg. So kind of pulling your leg across. Like I said, if you're on the right side, you're kind of pulling over to the left, but you're not twisting your body, okay? So I'm not pulling this way, my hips aren't lifting up off the floor. My low back stays on the floor as I just move my leg. Okay. The last option is if both of those stretches feel like you're not really getting enough of a stretch type feeling, is you are in this cross position and then you bring both legs up and in. So you hook, so I go through my leg here, interlock my fingers to hook behind the thigh, okay? And then you're pulling in this way. Make sure you stay relaxed on the floor. You're not lifting up here to pull the leg in. If you need to lift to grab onto the leg, then I would stick with one of the other variations. So as you pull in, you're trying to aim your knee to go in the direction like down, okay? So you don't want the knee kind of falling in toward you, it's pushing away from you. All right, and that'll be like the deepest stretching variation for this group of muscles. Okay, so for our next stretch, we're gonna do a hamstring stretch. I recommend doing it with a strap. So I have a like yoga strap, stretching strap here, but you can use like a belt, a dog leash, a long towel. You don't need to have a specific stretch strap. I can link one in the description below if you guys are interested in that, but like I said, you really don't need it. I know some people like to have it though. Okay, so it's nice to do it with the strap because that way, if you have any low back issues, then you're not having, like a lot of other hamstring stretches, you end up having to bend forward. So when you do it with the strap, it kind of eliminates that. So I find that it's typically better for like a larger range of people. All right, so what you do is you're going to straighten one leg out. You're going to hook your strap around your foot. Okay, and then you're going to use your arms to pull that leg in. You need to make sure that you keep your knee straight, so you can't have the knee bent like this, because then you're not really stretching your hamstring. So your hamstring is a muscle that's attaching into your hip, but it also is a muscle that will bend your knee, so it attaches into your knee. So to stretch it, you have to keep the knee straight. Okay, so if you're here, that's fine. Don't just like bend your knee just to get your leg in further. Okay. With stretching, you want to feel the stretch, so it's kind of like a moderate to strong feeling, but it should be comfortable, never painful. Okay. So that's your hamstring stretch. So next stretch we're going to do is we're going to stretch your inner thigh muscles. They're called your hip adductors. So we're going to actually do that with the strap as well. I'm going to switch legs. Okay. So you're hooking the strap onto your foot, kind of like in the hamstring stretch, okay? You're going to start to bring the leg out to the side, okay? So kind of bring it out to the side till you feel a stretch. So depending how tight you are here, so I would start here and then like using both hands holding the strap to bring your leg out to the side. Okay, and then you can play with how far down you let the leg go. So the farther down toward the floor, the more you feel the stretch. If you're pretty flexible here, you can kind of like, I like to like hook the strap into one hand, and then I pull up this way to get the stretch. So I kind of just change my hand position. So I guess it's more both hands are hooking onto the strap, and then I pull this way. Okay, so you should feel that stretch in the inner thigh. Again, you don't want any like pinching feeling in your hip. If you do, then back off on the stretch, or maybe you honestly might just need a different stretch to do. Okay, so that's your inner thigh stretch. And then our last stretch we have is going to stretch your hip flexor. So we're going to sit up. I'm going to show you the kneeling version first, which is actually, it's a little bit more difficult. So if this feels like it's just not happening for you or it's uncomfortable for you, I will show you an easier version right after this. So you're going to be in like a low lunge position. So make sure your ankle is in line with your knee here, okay? You're not like this. So you're here. And you can always put like a pillow or something under your knee on the floor to make that more comfortable for you. And you're going to start to lean forward till you feel a stretch in the front of your back leg, okay? What I like to do is actually tuck your pelvis under you. So instead of like letting your back arch this way, if you actually sit up a little or stand up a little taller and then tuck under you like you're dropping your tailbone down, it increases the stretch in this hip and then you don't have to go as far. Okay, and holding there. Okay, so for your standing version, I would do this at a wall so you can hold on to something because it's a little easier to get into the stretch. But basically you're going to be in a wide like split stance. So you're going to bend your front knee and then your back leg is staying straight or your back knee stays straight, okay? So this also stretches your calf, so you might feel this in the calf of the leg behind you. To get this to be more into the hip flexor, you kind of do that pelvic tilt again, so you just drop your tailbone down. and then you should feel it more in the front of your hip, and you also might feel it in like the lower part of your abdomen on the back leg. So those are your 4 stretches to help with hip tightness. We kind of covered each muscle in the hip area. I do have a video where I take you through a hip stretching routine. If you guys are interested in that, I can link that in the description below. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Remember to hold each stretch for 20 to 30 seconds on each side. But that's all I have for you guys today. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.